Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Course Creator Community Podcast. I am super excited because we've got an awesome guest on the line this week from the same part of the world as me. Judging by the accent, I don't think she's Australian. She lives in Australia. Yeah. So lucky. I was going to say I've got a fellow Aussie here, but I think she would just leave the podcast if I said that. A little bit about this person. She's an Instagram expert, an algorithm whisperer. She's a course creator herself. She's got the popular course Instagram Unpacked, which I recommend you check out. She's an Instagram business coach who specializes in helping entrepreneurs grow their business with Instagram. So without further ado, let me introduce the one and only Ms. Kryshla Salaris. Kryshla,
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, what a wonderful introduction. Thank you.
Well, it's easy because you're obviously very good at what you do. And you're from New Zealand originally, right?
Correct, yes.
How long you been in Australia?
A long time. So I originally moved over here in 2003, lived here for a few years, then went and did the working visa thing in London that everybody does. And after that, I decided to come back to Melbourne. I just wasn't ready to go home. And then I kind of got stuck here and I've been here ever since.
It was a guy. You met a guy, or
met a guy, got married. Yeah. We now have 2 little boys. I'm kind of committed. I'm kind of locked into Melbourne now.
Well, this is the test. Do the boys support the All Blacks or the Wallabies?
The All Blacks, actually.
Yeah. Well, it's because they're better. I support. Yeah. I've never been to New Zealand. Well, I've never lived in New Zealand, and I support the All Blacks because they're just so good, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you might as well back a winning team. Yeah. So they're allowed to do that for rugby, but for footy, they have to be Hawthorn supporters. That's our family's team.
Because New Zealand don't have an AFL team.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think that's a nice mix, right?
Yeah, there we go. All right, Kryshla, I like to start these podcasts off with a quote or mantra that inspires you or fires you up. Have you got one for us?
I do actually have one. And that is to never take criticism from somebody you wouldn't take advice from. And I think especially in this time of being on social media a lot, where you are really open to criticism and other people, these keyboard warriors, they're ready to nitpick at anything that you're doing. I think it's really important to remember that we shouldn't let what they say or do, or even that sense of comparisonitis get to us online. And instead, go with the people who you aspire to be like, who have gone there before you, or who you just really admire, I think, when you're looking for advice. I think I really love that saying. I think it's, a perfect thing to remind yourself of every so often.
100% good. Even offline, even in real life.
Exactly.
You hear some people criticize you, and I'm kind of like, I used to get offended, but I'm kind of like, this person doesn't have the life I want to live. Why would I take criticism from them? So it's, and I guess the flip argument to that is it's not like those people never have good advice. They may, I might have a friend and they give me some advice. And if I don't want to be where that friend is, I don't necessarily have to listen to that advice. Not saying they might not have other good advice. I'm still going to be open. But yeah, I think it's a good way to look at it like you did there. So awesome. All right. Now, Kryshla, I've been following you for a while now on Instagram. Let's give the listeners a little bit of background. Let us know, what is it you do? How'd you get into it? How long you've been doing it? Give us the rundown.
Okay, my official elevator pitch, yeah. So I am an Instagram coach. I specialize in content marketing, and that is growing your following and all of your social media accounts, but really organically using your content. And I help predominantly service-based business owners. So that includes coaches, course creators, consultants, all the C's, photographers as well, but to grow their service-based business using Instagram. And the focus really is on growing your business with Instagram, not so much on the Instagram growth or what's happening on the platform. Yes, we want that, but it's really about what's happening off of the platform, what's happening in your bank account. And really, I think taking charge of your Instagram marketing so it's not this horrible, overwhelming thing that's hanging over you all the time, because I know that's definitely a pain point for my clients and for my students, that they feel like it's this big burden and that I have to post something, but they don't know what to post, and they are spending a lot of time online but not actually getting any results. So it's really about breaking things down, making it simple, making it less time consuming as well, so you can actually focus on the stuff that you want to do in your business rather than always hustling online. So I don't know, I like to call it the lazy girl's guide to Instagram, or the busy mum style, but it's really just taking that back and owning it and doing what you want to do and what works for you.
Love that. So many good points there already. So, and I think you've probably hooked a few people in when you said organically, because if we can do it, saving some dollars, that's an advantage there. I love how you said bringing people in with content, because there can be a lot of people that are like, okay, great, because obviously you can grow with, DMs and that sort of thing, which is okay as well. But a lot of people don't like that, it's kind of like, well, if I can just post content and people come to me, that would be a win there as well. And I like a couple of the things that you said there as well, where it's kind of like, it's not so much an Instagram growth strategy that will happen as it does, but it's more about a business growth strategy. And that's one thing I've seen in the space, which I think is a good thing. A lot of the marketing from Instagram has gone from like, hey, do this course or hire me as a coach and you'll get thousands of followers, to more like, hey, hire me as a coach to do this course. You're going to get extra followers, but hey, it's really going to be extra money in your bank account. Because if anyone's kind of looking at it, it's like, okay, you like, if you ask someone the question, you can get 1,000 followers and 1 extra sale, or you can get 100 followers and 10 extra sales. You take the 10 sales, like it's more money. Like, who really cares about the followers? Obviously you need some to make the sales, but it's more about that there. And I like how you mentioned, let's not make it a burden. Let's not make it too time consuming, because that's another common theme I see. People like, oh, I have to post on Instagram. How am I going to get business if I'm not on there? So I'll post on there. And they do it because they have to. And if you're posting on there and not getting any results, well, it's a big waste of time. You may as well not have posted, but then you're not going to get any clients. So that's where Kryshla comes in, where it's like, all right, cool, let's get into the system. So love those things there. Now we're going to be speaking mainly about Reels today, Kryshla. So let's start there. We'll start broad and basic, and then we'll get more specific. Let's start, I guess, with maybe some of the reasons why. What are Reels? What are they good for? What are they not good for? Let's start there.
Okay. And look, Reels is obviously a hot topic at the moment, which is why I think it's a good one to address at this time. But with any type of content, with any format, it's not the format that really matters. It's kind of what comes before that. But let's, I guess, break down Reels. They are, at the moment, at the time of recording this, short form, multi-clip videos. They're between 3 and 60 seconds long, although Instagram is testing 90-second Reels. So that could be coming soon. They're testing that with a few creators. I suspect that will happen very soon.
Just quickly, what are your thoughts on that? Do you open?
I don't mind, but personally, it would have to be some really engaging content to watch for 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Right?
Like the way the world has changed, right?
I know. I don't know. My attention span is terrible. Yeah. You'd have to really hook people in, something that has multiple steps to encourage you to carry on watching, would be necessary, a tutorial, something with some really engaging storytelling. We know, obviously, this is clearly a copy of what TikTok's doing. They've gone up to 3-minute TikToks now.
Do they?
Yeah. And so look, and some of them I do watch the full 3 minutes. So it just depends on the content and how engaging it is to keep people there. But I think it's nice to have it as an option. In case you want to share something a little bit more detailed rather than just that really high level. So we've got these short form videos. They are, as you would have noticed, predominantly paired with some kind of audio. So whether that be voiceovers, whether that be music, a combination of both. And they are also very heavy in terms of people using effects or creative tools within the Reels editor. So that's kind of what makes them a bit special and a bit engaging, and why people are enjoying watching them. I think the big why behind Reels, and the why behind why people are obsessed with them at the moment, is that you can currently get incredible reach. Now, Instagram has come out and said that they are no longer just a photo sharing app. It is really about video. Although they have consolidated from 5 video placements to 4 by ditching IGTV, but it is really about video.
Is it IGTV?
Yeah, so that's no longer. It's been incorporated into Instagram video. So that's the video that appears on your feed. So they've kind of just meshed the two together into one.
It's boring anyway, IGTV, right?
Well, exactly.
Did you ever watch that? Yeah, that's it. Good. They tried. Good on them.
They tried. They were trying to compete with YouTube, right? But it just didn't work. And so that's cool. If something doesn't work, get rid of it, try something else. Reels are definitely here to stay. And they are definitely worth putting some time and energy into. However, they're not the end all and be all. Of course, you do need that diversity in your content. But at the moment, they are experiencing really great reach. And what we like about reach is that you can get your brand or business in front of a whole new audience, which can be great if you are reaching the right people with your content. That can be fantastic for follower growth. And certainly a lot of accounts have experienced that when they have gone viral. What I also really love about Reels, not only for attracting perhaps a new audience, but it is a really fun and engaging way to interact with your current audience and to kind of show your brand in a bit more of a lighthearted way, or to humanize, your brand or business as well.
Okay, wow. So many good points there. Let me piggyback off some of those. Yeah, I think so. Reels obviously came off the back of TikTok, TikTok kind of exploded, and was just the way I look at it as a user, it's just really fun because it's so quick. I'm just there, and it's quick. I can see so much content in a quick time. So TikTok people were genius when they came up with that. They're like, people don't want to sit here and watch a minute video or a 5-minute video anymore. So there's that. And then I think also with Instagram, I can't remember if it's still like this. It's kind of like Reels is the main thing. Like if I open my Instagram app, is that the first thing I see? Reel? No, it's not, is it?
Not at the moment. So Instagram's actually introducing a new way to display your feed. So there's actually now going to be 3 feeds to choose from. So currently you've got your kind of main Instagram feed that you scroll through that has images from other feeds, but also they are bringing in TikToks as part of that.
They come up on mine sometimes. If I go on my home one.
Yep, they will come up because people will post, TikToks, Reels. We're just talking about TikTok. So because people, when they share their Reel, they often share it to their feed as well. That's why it appears in your main feed.
Gotcha.
But Instagram is now bringing in some options where you can customize what you see when you first log into the app. So you can have the traditional main feed that you're seeing now. They're also going to be offering favorites. So if there are favorite accounts that you really want to see, and there's another one as well, I can't remember what it's going to be, but so you can actually choose what you're going to see first, which may or may not be good for business accounts.
Even currently though, like if I open up mine, there's the home, there's the people I follow, but I feel like the Reels is still front and center. It's that big, because that middle button has always been the big one, I feel. Whatever's in the middle. And even now I look at it, it looks bigger, like it makes me want to press it. It looks like it's in a better font. Like I feel like everything is just making me want to push that button there, So I think there's that. And it's just like before that came out, it was so hard to get like new growth, like you could get on the explore page, who checks out the explore page? Like, I guess it's better than nothing, but it's it's not a huge thing. Yeah, you can use the hashtags, but that's pretty specific as well. Like, this is just a way to kind of Instagram to say, hey, Jono, you as a user, we're just going to throw a whole heap of new people at you that our algorithm, thinks that you'll like. And their algorithm is smarter than anything I could figure out, So I think there's that. And I think with any social media thing, whenever there's a new feature they bring out, they always push it. And I think it's good to get on it now because it probably won't always be like that. Things might change, and then just like any platform, as it gets more competitive, it's harder to get found organically because more of your people you follow will come up there. So I think it's a great thing there. One question. Now, reels are obviously usually fun. Oh, sorry, I want to expand one more thing as well. What Kryshla said, I think that was really good as well, was the right people. Because I could go on there now and I could do a, viral reel or whatever, me doing a silly dance or something. And that probably wouldn't work. I'd probably lose followers if I did that. But let's say, I was a better dancer and a better looking guy. I could maybe go on there and do a silly dance and get a whole heap of followers. But if they're not the right followers, it doesn't really matter. So, it's important to sync them up. One question about the fun side of things, Kryshla.
Yes.
Let's say someone's watching this and they're not really a super fun type of person. They're more a serious kind of person. What's your take? Is real still for them? Or if they're not, like, if that's not the image they want to portray, should they maybe try another strategy? What can you tell us there?
Sure. So I think, we do tend to default to thinking about reels and TikTok, that kind of snackable content, as fun, engaging type of content. It doesn't have to be fun. You don't have to dance. You don't have to make jokes or do voiceovers or what have you. And actually, one thing I've really noticed when I compare TikTok to reels, at the moment, reels is a little bit of a copy of what's happening on TikTok. And people are really relying on trends, trending sounds. They're kind of doing what everyone else is doing. So personally, when someone is simply talking to camera and sharing tips or knowledge or a story, that actually captures my attention more than people doing the same voiceovers, the pointing at words, dancing, what have you. Gotcha. So it can actually be to your advantage to do something slightly different on there. I think over time, users will kind of cotton onto this and start, I guess, diversifying their content a little bit more. I think at the moment, everyone's just learning how to use reels. They're doing what other people are doing to kind of get a feel for it. And certainly, using trending songs and all of that can be really great for your reach. I think some important things to remember, and what we always have to step back and consider if we're using Instagram for business, to grow our business, that is really different to the way that you use Instagram if you are, say, a full-time content creator or an influencer. So your goal is to connect with people, but then to get them off of the platform. That's where they're going to buy from you. That's where they're really going to get you to know you a bit more, maybe on your email list or on your website. If you're a full-time content creator, if you're an influencer, yes, the goal there is to grow this great big following, to gain influence, obviously, as an influencer, to get your content out as far and wide as you can, because those numbers, the reach, the views on your videos, that's how you get paid, either by Instagram itself or by brands that are hiring you to create their content. So that, I guess, goal of going viral is really important for those creators. But as a small business owner, you don't need to focus on that as much. It's more about making that connection with the right people and then actually inviting them to take that next step with you.
That's awesome. That's such a good point for everyone listening. Such a good point where I think we can get caught up in social media as business people and think that we are influencers. And I mean, you can argue the point, okay, you've got influence over your audience. There's an element there.
Of course, yeah.
But it's to like a traditional influencer, it's worlds apart. And I'll give an example. I did a consult the other week with a woman that was on Big Brother over in the US multiple times. She's got like the record for being on Big Brother the most amount of times. And she's an influencer and she's thinking of putting a course together. And it was like a different world. She's got hundreds of thousands of followers and she gets paid per post. She told me her last post was $20,000, right? For like wearing a watch or I don't know what it was, And I'm man, that's crazy. And she wanted to put together a course, but that would be the first thing that she actually sold to her audience directly. And she was a bit hesitant. She was like, got to sell to them directly, it's going to be hard, and she was a bit hesitant to, I recommended, hey, with what you want to do, like $1,000 would be a fair price for your course. She was kind of like, oh, but my audience, I've never sold them anything. I was thinking more like $300. And I'm like, man, that's a different world. If you're in the course space, because and there's benefits and negatives, right? It's like as a course creator, you're never getting $20,000 for an Instagram post, right?
No way.
But you may make $20,000 worth of sales if you can connect with the right people and sell $1,000 things there. So it's a different game. The influencers like, right, how can I get as much followers and get those followers to love me and I'll make them laugh and all that sort of stuff there. Great. That's how they'll make $20,000. Completely different game with the business owner there. So I think it's a really good distinction.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's speak about starting off. Let's say someone's never done a reel before. And that's pretty much me. I think I mucked around about a year ago and did one or two, but I've still got pretty much no idea. Let's say they're like, all right, Kryshla, I've seen them on my feed. Everyone's talking about them. I know it's the way to go. Let me go and do my first one. Can you give us some simple tips for someone doing their first ever reel?
Sure. So I think the thing with reels is don't overthink it and don't be afraid to make a mistake. You know what it's like? Remember when Instagram stories first came out and people were very hesitant to try Instagram stories? Now I'm sure you wouldn't give it a second thought to jump on your stories and talk to camera or share your day or film a little boomerang or whatever it is. So it really is a matter of practice. The other thing I would definitely say is you don't have to go in for a whole lot of complicated editing here. You don't need to do these transitions where you're ripping your clothes off and things like that, okay? Yeah. That's kind of more advanced, yeah? So start out really simple. Start out by going back to who it is that you're actually trying to connect with, okay? Who are you trying to get your brand or business in front of? And remember, you've got this really great opportunity to reach new people because of the reach inherent within Reels. But in saying that, you want to make sure that you are seen and you have engagement from the right people. So if you create a reel, say if I was to put out a reel, a cooking one, as you were saying before about the dancing one, and it went viral, all these people would come back to my account and what would they find? Instagram tips. And they wouldn't convert from profile visitors to followers. So I think we really want to take that step back, consider, okay, who do we want to attract with our content? And then with Reels, if you think about the stages of the customer journey, yeah, because you're getting in front of people who don't already know, like, or trust you, you're really talking top of funnel, yeah, cold audience who may have never heard of you before, may have never seen you. So you can't go out there just selling, right? Because that's not going to go down well. People are like, who's this person? I'm not going to be buying from them. Instead, you really want to focus on that top of funnel content, the stuff to connect with a cold audience, to provide them with value, and through that valuable content, invite them back to your account to consume more of your content where they can get to know, like, and trust you. Hopefully they'll follow. And then that's the point where you can be nurturing them, warming up and getting them ready for that sale down the track. But when you're first encountering someone, they're not going to be ready to buy from you because they have no idea who you are. So I think what works really great for Instagram Reels is that high value, useful content, providing a quick win. Course creators, whatever your course is about, I'm sure you have a million little tips and snippets and tools and things that you can be sharing that are actually going to be helpful for your ideal clients or ideal students who are out there on Instagram. What can you share that's actually going to help somebody with something really small today? So just a nice quick win, as you do, if you think about your opt-in or your lead magnets or your blog content, it's kind of similar to that. It's that kind of content saying, I see you, I know what you need, here's some value, and that should entice people back to your account to consume more of your content.
Love it, because that's what gets me. If I'm scrolling through my reels, and something, I guess, what gets me is like a point of difference.
Yes.
If I'm scrolling through and I see something, I'm like, that's different. I've never thought about it like that, or I've never heard it like that. I'm curious. Who is this person?
Yeah.
And then I click on their profile, and then I have a bit of a stalk through there, and I'm like, okay, I like this person, follow.
Yeah.
Is that how you see the journey as well?
I see it like that. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, you don't need to be doing these fancy transitions. If you show up and just provide a bit of value, it can be you talking to camera as you would on an Instagram story.
Yeah.
Then maybe you add a bit of text, maybe you add a bit of music, you can start having a bit more fun with it. I think one really great thing to get into the habit of with all of your content is to create multiple versions of the same thing. So say I'm sharing, 5 things to include in your Instagram reel, for example. I could do a reel with me talking to camera, talking about those 5 things, or I could split that into 5 reels and share that one at a time with a bit more detail, especially if we're going to be allowed 90-second reels.
And you could do it different. Oh, sorry. No, keep on.
Yeah. Or you could do the kind of one that you see maybe with a trending song, trying that
pointing
out
to the things
with the 5 points,
Yeah.
coming up around you, or you pointing to them. I know some people are very anti-pointing, or you banging the screen, or whatever it is. But you've kind of got these different ways of presenting it. Put it out there and see what people like. It's a bit of trial and error, really. But each one of those examples is still you showing up and providing value. Maybe the one where you're simply listing the 5 points, you would then have a call to action to read the caption, and that's where you would go into a bit more detail about that. So it's not too surface level. I think you do want to showcase your expertise and to provide value.
These 5 things, like let's say that one, Oh, actually, that one would be okay with me because I'm not a Reels guy. But if it was something that I knew a bit about, 5 tips to grow your Facebook group, I've seen a million of these, 5 tips to sell your online course, I've seen a million of these, It's got to be something. There's either got to be more detail in the comments, or it's got to be something different there. But even looking at that, it's kind of like what I take from that as well is it might also depend on your style. Like if you are just a talking to person style. You mentioned earlier, Kryshla, you like that sort of style as well, where it's like if someone's talking there because it's different.
Yeah.
Because now I'm thinking back me myself as a user as well. If I'm going through Reels, it's almost like how can I explain it? It's almost like even if, let's say there's someone who's got it, let's just use you as an example, Kryshla. I know this isn't you, but let's just say you never did any trending stuff. Was just always just talk to camera straight up there. That would still capture my attention, because if I'm scrolling through the thing, I'm going to get, okay, trend, talking to camera, trend, talk. I'm still getting variety in my experience, because I'm not just going to your account and being like, oh, let me see every single reel Kryshla's done. I'm looking at everyone. So I think it's even if you never did, and I don't know, you're the expert, you'll know better than me where it's better to vary it up. There's probably an advantage, like if someone didn't want to do any of that stuff and just talk to camera, it can probably still work, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and I think what we need to do is stop focusing so much on the format and remember the things that come before that. So your core content pillars, the themes, what are the things that you always talk about that are helpful for your ideal client, but also helpful for your business growth? So that needs to underpin all of that. That comes first. Then you've got different types of content that do different things. They serve different purposes. So again, you want to have that variety there. Format and your actual idea for your post, that's the last thing you need to think about. Yeah. So I think a lot of people start with there and go, okay, I have to make a reel. Or is that the best way to present your content? And if it's not, do something else. Yeah. Or if you're like, okay, I want to give it a try and it doesn't work, so what? Not every piece of content is going to fly. It depends on so many factors that are beyond your control as well. I think if you are just starting out, there are a few kind of best practice things that I could share with you. And look, depends on your editing skills and what you want to try in terms of transitions or cutting clips and stuff. You would have heard before about using a hook to get people's attention. So when they're scrolling, what's something that's going to draw them in? Now, a hook doesn't have to be, again, this big fancy editing thing. It can be you saying something to draw them in. And what I find works quite well is using you, the word you, or your in your hook. So, you could say something like, are your Instagram followers growing? Or are your reels a flop? Or something like that, and people be like, oh, yes, mine are.
It's more personal, right?
Exactly. So something like that can be a great hook. You can obviously use a visual hook to draw people in. So something really exciting, stunning, you doing a cartwheel, like whatever it is that you feel comfortable doing. But, I think something to grab people's attention as they're scrolling. Yeah. Next, I would definitely recommend, regardless of what you actually decide to present, use text on your reels. Okay, this is really great for a couple of reasons. It's been shown that having text on videos helps with engagement and watch time. So the longer the watch time, the more, obviously the more people understand your message and what it is that you're trying to get across, but it's also great in terms of your video's performance. It's also necessary in terms of accessibility. We need to be mindful of these things, make our content accessible to everyone, or even people who just are in a noisy place, have their phone on silent, whatever it is.
That's me, by the way. That's why I don't use TikTok. You can't put TikTok on silent, I don't think. Do you know?
No, you have to just take down the volume on your phone.
Yeah, it took me ages to figure that out. That's why I didn't use TikTok, because I'm like, man, it's so loud and all this. Whereas Instagram, because I just watch things on silent. So if you're doing a reel and you don't have, text, I don't know what's going on.
Yes. And this is where all the ones with you doing the voiceovers and stuff, they're funny. But if people have got their thing on silent, your message isn't getting across. So it's, I think, again, as with all of your content, variety, right? You can try out some of those fun trends and have a bit of a laugh. I've definitely got some more humorous reels in my collection because I just enjoy making content. It's fun. And if they go well, great. If they don't, who cares? I'm still going to keep creating them and experimenting with the editor and, just seeing what works and what doesn't. But if you are really focusing on, I guess, if the majority of your content is related to your niche, because again, that's going to help bring the right people back to your account. And I would definitely say be using text on your reels for that accessibility. The other couple of things that work really well for reels, short clips, transitions. This is great for visual interest. And again, you don't need to be doing these big fancy ones. It can simply be you sharing, you could say your hook, you're standing in one position, then you move around, say the next point, move, say the next point, and just kind of chop that up. Fast reels are good reels. We don't want this big, long-winded, hi, how's everyone today? Happy Monday. I thought I would just pop on. No, people are gone by then. So jump in, make it quick, make it snappy, get your point across. And that's why I think these entertaining reels or the ones with a bit of an element of surprise do work well because it's about those quick transitions. It's not necessarily the dance scene that works for people.
Awesome. Love it. Now, we could speak about this all day, Kryshla. You warned me about this earlier. I want to be sensitive of your time. So there's just a few questions I like to finish up with. Now, this has been the Course Creator Community Podcast. I know you're a course creator yourself.
I am.
So I ask every guest I have on here what their course platform is of choice and what they think of it. So what platform do you use, Kryshla, and what do you think?
I use Kajabi.
Okay.
I did Digital Course Academy with Amy Porterfield back, where was it? 2019, a little while ago. She had an offer for 30% off. So I took it up.
Yep.
I didn't really investigate many other options, but I have heard great things about 10X Pro as well. But I love it. It looks beautiful. It's a really clean interface. As you know from my Instagram, I really like clean, white, very minimalist kind of looking content. And so I think Kajabi really suits that. I just find it super easy to use, but I do know it is more of the, I guess, more on the higher priced end of platforms. But now that I'm in there, I'm committed. I can't be bothered moving.
Yeah, that's how they get you, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, here's my take from the course creator side. Kajabi is the best. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. It's the best one out there. The one limitation that you mentioned is the price of it. So that's where it's not always the best option for course creators, because can I ask what you're paying at Kajabi? Do you know?
I'm paying, it's $139 a month US. Yeah.
US.
I mean, I'm on the second.
You're in the middle one. Yeah.
The middle one. Yeah. So which is normally sort of 200 something. Yeah. Without that,
with Amy.
that discount. Yeah. So I'm very grateful for that discount.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? So it's like, I think Kajabi's entry one is $100 US.
Yeah.
But you can't do anything with, or you can get like one course or one funnel.
Yeah,
like,
I think you get 3 products, right?
Yeah. You have a freebie, your course, and then you're gone, So that middle one is what most people use for, which is about $200.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's other options out there for like 50, $100. So it's, if you're tight on cash, you're best off just spending $50 and getting similar. But if you got the cash, it's not a huge jump. You pay an extra 100, 150. But even on that middle one, I think there are some limit, because you got one course at the moment.
Yes. Oh, yeah. One active course. I have another one that I'm refreshing at the moment. So I have Instagram Unpacked, which is like the comprehensive full Instagram marketing course. And I also have a smaller course, Ready to Reel, that used to be, that was just Instagram Reels. Yep. That was a free course that I offered last year. We've had about 1,000 people go through that, which is amazing. Yeah. So I decided to I took it off because it needs refreshing, because the Reels editor's changed a lot since I first created the course. Yeah. So I'm going to be adding a bit more to that, a bit more strategy and information behind that, and then releasing that later in this year, probably first half of this year. As a paid course this time, possibly a tiny offer. I'm not quite sure yet. Depends how big and involved this program ends up being.
Well, with my business, I got 40 online courses, right? So that would be 400 a month with Kajabi. And I'm just like, it's just, it creeps right up there. Still, because I've been doing the online course thing for a while, right? So I started with Teachable, but then I use ClickFunnels for my funnels, and I use ActiveCast. So I got about 3 different things there. Probably would have been cheaper if I just went with Kajabi at the time, but I saw it and I was like, 400 is just a bit too. But anyway, I think Kajabi definitely the best. The one limitation is, it is more expensive than the others. Next question, Kryshla, is around mentors. So you're obviously a mentor for plenty of people out there, plenty of women out there that want to grow their business, want to get better at Instagram. I'm curious to hear who your biggest mentors have been. If you can keep it Instagram specific, that would be cool. But if not, any online business sort of person is cool as well. If you could answer it in 3 different ways: a paid mentor, so someone that you've paid money to and you've done their course or their program or whatever it is, someone that you haven't paid money to, but you follow them on Instagram or another platform, and a book that you recommend every either online course creator or person that wants to get better at Instagram should read, or better at marketing, let's say.
Ooh, this is hard. The first 2, there's overlaps. I've actually paid both of them.
That's all right. You can do that.
But I like both of them. I think in my early days of growing my business and marketing, I was very much all over Amy Porterfield, her podcast. I love how practical her tips are. And look, she's got this great big team behind her. But back a few years ago, it was really just her doing it. So it's been really interesting to watch the progression of her business. And of course, her practical marketing tips have been wonderful. At the start, I didn't have a course, and then I sort of moved into that space. And that's her content moved that way as well. She used to do like Facebook ads and sort of stuff like that. Yeah, that was her big thing that she taught, and then she's kind of moved along, and now she's really about the course creation and list building and all of that. So I think while I've done Digital Course Academy, now I guess she's my person that I still check in with and see kind of what she's doing, but I feel like I've kind of almost outgrown her, but if you are starting out, I would 100% recommend, because the way she explains things, she's got a really lovely soothing voice, which I also enjoy. She breaks it down. She makes it so easy. I mean, it is called online marketing made easy for a reason. But I do really think she has so much to offer any small business owner on a range of topics, which I think is really great as well. She's got a backlog of hundreds of podcasts that you can go back and listen to as well. Stevie from Stevie Says Social, so Stevie Dillon, she is someone that I met through the Digital Picnic group years and years ago. I did one of her courses many years ago as well. She has a podcast, and I just like the way that she breaks down content. She's done a similar thing to Amy, where she's moved away from teaching Instagram and social media strategy, and she's now very focused on course creation. And teaching people how to launch and scale their course as well. And that is a mentoring program that I'm in at the moment. So working with her on that, because she has literally gone before me and done an incredible Instagram course. I feel that's a great person to learn from. So I think those two off the top of my head are really great, I guess, mentors.
I'll jump in there for a sec. I think that's a very good point as well, where she pops up on my feed every now and then. Both YouTube. Is she a YouTuber as well?
No, I don't think she does have YouTube.
I think I must have subscribed to a YouTube channel somewhere along the line, because I think I see it. I don't know. I see her around the place, but I've never really listened to any. Where's she from?
She is based in, I think she's in the Gold Coast or Brisbane, somewhere in Queensland.
Yeah. Say that. I'm like, I knew it was something about her. I'm like, I don't think she's like, there's something I knew about her. But I think that's a good point, where it's like, she's done exactly what you've done before. So follow that, and not saying you always have to do it, but it can help if that's the case. If you're listening to this and you're, I don't know, a real estate agent, maybe she's not the best person to follow for tips. Maybe she is, but if she hasn't been a real estate agent, maybe her tips are more applied to someone that's, done an Instagram course like she did. So I love that. Book. Do you have a book for us, Kryshla?
I sure do. And again, so you probably noticed the theme now. I love super practical. I'm not so much a mindset woo kind of person. I like really, here's how to do things, nuts and bolts. So the book that I recommend, and I'm sure you would have had plenty of people recommend this, is Atomic Habits.
Oh, yeah.
I just love the way that it's all broken down. Again, step by step, here's what to do to create habits, to maintain them. And it's the fact that you can have one little habit and build on that to gain that momentum and that success that really appeals to me. It's a book I've read a couple of times now. I was actually just thinking about it the other day, thinking, I should reread it now. I feel like it's something you could reread at the start of each year to kind of get you in the right frame of mind and to get you into the right habits, obviously, for your work year ahead. But yeah, I just love that. Super practical and just easy to digest and to actually implement.
Yeah, well, I'd probably say that's the most recommended book.
Yeah, it's so good.
And Amy Porterfield's probably the most recommended mentor as well. So
now I feel bad. I should have brought in someone interesting.
It's good to
For the
get the
readers.
consistency, you know, because someone can be listening to this and be like, all right, cool. You know, if I want to be successful, what are all these, if everyone's reading this book and everyone's listening to this woman, you know, well, maybe I should do the same thing and I'll get similar results, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I also really love Suze Chadwick. She has the Brand Builders Lab podcast. So more general branding, marketing, like building a bold brand. I would definitely recommend listening to her podcast as well for something that's maybe not so Instagram focused, but more your overall marketing and getting really clear on what it is that you want to do with your business.
Okay, we got a bonus one there. So thank you for
Yay.
that. Okay, Kryshla, there's going to be a whole heap of people listening to this being like, okay, this woman is cool. She's inspiring. She's got good tips. Where do we go to follow you? It's probably a dumb question because of what the podcast episode is on, but I'll ask it anyway. Where do we go to follow you?
Well, Instagram, obviously, but I'm on all social media platforms. As you know, Jono, I'm on LinkedIn, but I never hang out there from your messages, just lolling around in my inbox there. Instagram or TikTok is really where I spend my time. Instagram, I spend my time in terms of obviously what I'm doing for my business. TikTok's more for leisure. I do post a few things there when I can be bothered. But yeah, Instagram's definitely the place to find me. But all platforms you'll find me at Shall We Social. So I've managed to get all the handles and they're all matching, which is wonderful. That's what you want so people can find you.
That's a good point there as well, right? It's kind of like, you don't want to have your YouTube this name and your Instagram this and your TikTok there. It's impossible for people to find you. You know,
it's
the one
you want to
on all of them.
secure that real estate, or if you do, I know sometimes it's hard. Like someone else may have taken that username. At least be consistent with your profile picture across platforms. If you don't have the same name, so people can be like, oh, okay, I've got the right person, even if it's a variation. I think is helpful as well.
Good points. All right. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover today, Kryshla. Is there anything I should have asked you but forgot to, or anything you want to finish us off with?
Look, I think the key takeaway is, and especially, you know, with course creators in mind, is Instagram Reels. It's a fantastic tool for connecting with a new audience, for growing your following on Instagram. If you're sharing that kind of top of funnel content that's suited to a cold audience. But it's not a great conversion tool for that reason, because of who you're possibly connecting with. Yes, your existing followers will probably see your reels as well. So it doesn't mean that you can't do anything, you know, that's talking about your course. In fact, I did a reel last night showing some elements of my course. So you can definitely include that, but the majority of your content, I think you should be focusing on that new audience and bringing them in. Then you can use your other content placements, such as your stories, such as Instagram videos, such as your feed posts, to nurture that relationship and to actually move people along the customer journey and get them ready to buy from you. So I think it's really important, as with anything on Instagram, to have that variety in terms of the content pillars or the themes that you talk about, variety in terms of the type of content that you're sharing. So variety as in, some content's going to really drive your account performance on Instagram, and some of your content should be driving your business objectives off of Instagram. I think you really need that balance. And then, of course, variety in terms of your formats. So having a mix of reels and stories and feed posts and all of those things, because obviously they, you know, do different things, but also people have different preferences for consuming content. And that's really, you know, what it's about. People have this belief that Instagram prefers reels, but it's not actually true. It's the user that is showing that they are enjoying reels. But that could change, right, if something else comes out. So I think you have to be willing and able to try new things, to give them a go, but ultimately decide what works best for you and your business.
Awesome advice. Thank you, Kryshla.